Hello everyone and welcome back. NIGHTHOLD just opened up, so let's start going over the strategies to be able to beat all of these bosses. Here we have Trilliax. Now Trilliax is an interesting fight. Basically he'll start summoning arcane puddles underneath random people in the raid. Just make sure you try not to stand in them as much as possible. Something else that does happen is he does do a frontal cleave that needs to be split between the two tanks. You do see I have one of those debuffs now. You want the tanks to taunt off at 2 debuffs. So here we start seeing the arcane puddles everywhere. Basically just keep moving around, don't stand in them. At 2 stacks you did see the other tank taunt off of me, and during this phase that's all there really is. Something else that happens during this phase is he does throw cake all over the room. Now what you need to do is go pick up that cake. If you pick up that cake, you're gonna get a dot, it's gonna hurt you, but if you don't, later on it's gonna become a much bigger issue. So you need to have dedicated people running and picking up cake. Something else that happens during this phase you see here is annihilation. It's a giant beam. You basically want to avoid it as much as possible. In normal, it's not as deadly. In heroic, this is a one shot. Another thing that does happen during this phase that you do see here between me and the other tank is people do randomly get tethered with this electric bond. You need to stack on each other in order to avoid that damage. This can happen between melee and ranged, healers, tanks, it doesn't matter. You basically need to watch out to see who you're connected to, and when you see that you're connected to someone, run to them and stack on them. Something that does happen during this third phase is he summons these scrubbers. So you see these little robots in the background. They're going to go around absorbing the puddles of arcane and building up their mana. If they build up 100% mana or eat a slice of cake before you do, they're going to start casting an AoE explosion. During this cast, you can actually right click them, jump on them, and blow them up yourself. So if you do have ranged DPS watching the robots, if they start casting, you need to run to them and blow them up. You do see here that I am trying to help out by picking up some slices of cake. Whatever you need to do to pick up these cakes while these robots are active is a good thing, because you do not want a robot to pick up a slice of cake. And as always throughout this whole phase, make sure the tanks don't get above 2 debuffs. You do see here again we have annihilation and also bond. Try to stick with the person that you're stuck with. Now the difference between normal mode and LFR is basically the scrubbers. In LFR, the scrubbers build up mana a lot slower, so they take a lot longer to explode. In heroic mode, when you eat a cake, you also get slowed down, so you need to be a lot more careful with annihilation. One other thing to note in heroic mode is that the robots build up mana a lot faster, so you need to be more on the game of stepping on them or denying them all the cake. One other thing you do see here is every now and then people will get debuffed and start pulsing with electricity. If they get near a scrubber and actually pulse near them, they will actually reduce the amount of mana that scrubber has. So one thing to do when you do have that debuff is start hugging a scrubber so that they don't get to 100% mana. Those are really all the mechanics for this boss. Basically, don't stand in any puddles, eat all of the cake before the scrubbers get to it. If you see a scrubber blowing up, go ahead and right click it and deny it, and during annihilation, avoid the beam as much as possible. Something else that you do see here that we're running normal is the fact that the static bond doesn't do as much damage. In heroic mode, this damage is multiplied by 5, so you need to be very careful that you don't break this bond. But anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying NIGHTHOLD. Get in there, run normal. It's not as deadly as it looks, so I do suggest you go ahead and try it. Try to get your tier pieces. I'm going to go ahead and keep pumping out these guides. If you have any additional questions in anything regarding LFR normal or heroic difficulty with NIGHTHOLD, go ahead and ask me in the comment section down below or tweet at me. And as always, good luck tanking out there.